Hi and welcome to Heart Shaped Cake. Today we are baking a heart shaped cake. Finally, I didn't have them in the last 12 months, I guess. So sometimes you have a ton of heart shaped cake requests and sometimes not. It really depends. Usually we have once per year or for every birthday we have a heart shaped cake because that's where the name comes from. My mom used to make heart-shaped cakes for every single birthday we had, like for my birthday, for my brother's birthday, and even for the kids. For my girls, she used to make them a heart-shaped cake every single year. That's kind of a family tradition, and that's why I picked the name for my business. Let's get started. Here we have the ingredients. 50-gram flour mixed with 50 gram of cornstarch, and also 12.5 gram of custard powder, a little bit of vanilla bean powder, like ground vanilla beans, and half a teaspoon baking powder. We have 100 grams of sugar, 3 egg yolks, and 3 egg whites. And we start with whipping up the egg whites with a little bit of salt, like just a pinch. And then slowly, when the egg whites are whipped enough, slowly adding the sugar and then the egg yolks, and then we fold in gently the flour. We also need our heart-shaped baking pan, like this, and I will cut a little bit of parchment paper in the same shape to put it back in there, so it's easier to release the heart-shaped cake at the end. So just trace around your baking mold. And I will probably cut it a little bit smaller than it is. And before I grease the pan, I make sure that this fits nicely into my baking pan. It looks good so far, so let's stick to that. I'm greasing the inside of my baking pan and just put a little bit of flour on the side so the dough can rise easily. And also that my parchment paper sticks to the bottom. Just use a silicone brush, or if you have any other brush, that works just fine. Make sure you reach every corner and so that the flour can stick everywhere and you don't have any issues with releasing the cake after it's been baked. It looks good. Press down the parchment paper to the bottom of the baking pan and even press it down in the corners because it's slightly it's not a straight edge, as you can see, so I have to make sure it sticks everywhere. Getting a little bit flour to dust the sides of the pan. It's hard to do touch-ups once the flour is already on the butter. Should be good so far. There are some spots, but I don't worry about that. So we start mixing our egg whites. Put them in the bowl. Make sure there's no grease left in the bowl. Of course, I need another spatula. You can never have enough of those, by the way. And I prefer the ones that come in one piece, like the ones I have here. So you don't have to remove the top part from the stick, and there's no grease sitting somewhere. So yeah, that's my favorite. Using a little bit of salt. And then mix the egg whites until it's like it forms stiff peaks. And then we're adding the sugar and just mix it until the sugar completely dissolves in it. We don't want any sugar crystals left. And then we're slowly adding the egg yolks, and then we're folding in the flour. So once it looks like this, like stiff peaks formed, we are adding the sugar. Just let it run on low and then add the sugar and then mix it on high. Also make sure you scrape down the sides of the bowl to make sure everything is mixed nicely. Now that it looks like that, stiff peaks, like when you remove it, we're slowly adding the egg yolks one by one. So I am just folding in the flour and cornstarch like this. Just make sure to scrape along the bottom to mix everything nicely together. Not too much, because we don't want to destroy all the nice air bubbles we have in this sponge. Now I'm going to fill in the cake batter into my baking pan. It's probably a bit too much. It's always hard to, have the right amount of cake batter. This was made with like 3 eggs. Probably 2 would be enough. So I didn't film when I was baking the heart-shaped cake you see in front of the camera. This was a 6-inch cake, 6-inch by 3-inch height. And I didn't use all of my batter that I had. Like I didn't use all of the 3 eggs, like the batter I made out of the 3 eggs. I had a little bit left, but that's fine. It should give me like 3 layers. You can see that's also a reason why a crumb coat is necessary. You can fix all those little, the crumbs on the side with the first layer of buttercream, and then you won't have any issues with the final coating. I just let it cool completely before I start cutting it, and then usually I start cutting, stacking, and crumb coating it the day before I need it. And then the next day, when it was sitting overnight in the fridge, I do the final layer of buttercream and the decoration. That was not supposed to happen. You can see this one will be the bottom of the cake, so I just flip it over, and then this one will be the bottom and this one will be the top.